The National Park Missing 411. David Pollard spent 20 years as a police officer. Before he started investigating disappearances in national parks, he thought he'd seen everything. Missing persons cases were routine. Most people turned up, got lost, got found, went home. But in 2010, a park ranger in Yosemite pulled him aside at a conference, said there was something wrong with the cases in the parks. Something the Park Service didn't want to talk about. The ranger gave him a list. 52 names. People who'd vanished in Yosemite alone over the past 100 years. Experienced hikers. Children. Hunters who knew the woods. All gone without a trace. No bodies. No evidence. No explanations. David started digging. Filed Freedom of Information requests. Contacted families. Interviewed rangers. What he found terrified him. There were patterns. Impossible patterns. People disappearing in areas that had been searched dozens of times. Children found miles away, over mountain ranges they couldn't possibly have crossed. Survivors with no memory of where they'd been. And the clusters. Certain locations where disappearances happened over and over. Yosemite, Crater Lake, Great Smoky Mountains, Glacier National Park. The list went on. David published his research, called it Missing 411. The books became bestsellers, but the Park Service refused to comment, said his research was flawed, said there was no pattern. But David had the numbers. Over 1,600 unexplained disappearances in national parks since record keeping began. And that was just the ones they'd admit to. The case that haunts David most is Dennis Martin. July 1969. Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Dennis was 6 years old, playing with his brother and two other boys near Spencefield. The boys split into two groups, planned to jump out and scare each other. Dennis's group went behind a bush. 10 seconds later, the other boys jumped out. Dennis was gone, vanished. In 10 seconds, his brother said they never took their eyes off the bush. But Dennis was gone. The search was massive, largest in park history at the time. 1,300 people, helicopters, bloodhounds. They searched for 9 days. Found nothing. No trace. No footprints. No clothing. Nothing. But there were witnesses. A family hiking nearby reported seeing something that day. Something they tried to report but were dismissed. They saw a person, tall, covered in hair, carrying something over its shoulder. Something small, moving incredibly fast through the forest. Upright. Not a bear. The father was former military. He knew what he saw, but by the time rangers took the report seriously, it was too late. The trail was cold. Dennis Martin was never found. His parents died never knowing what happened to their son. But David has a theory. Based on hundreds of similar cases, something in the parks takes people. Something smart. Something that knows how to avoid searchers. Something that's been doing this for a very long time. The patterns David found are disturbing. First, the missing are often highly intelligent. Scientists, doctors, engineers, children who tested gifted. Second, bad weather hits immediately after disappearances. Massive storms that wash away evidence. Every single time. Third, the missing are often found near water or boulder fields, if they're found at all. Fourth, tracking dogs can't follow the scent. The trail just ends, like the person vanished into thin air. Fifth, when survivors are found, they have no memory, or they tell impossible stories. Say they were carried. Say they saw things. Say someone or something was with them. Sixth, shoes are missing. Almost always. Found miles away from the body. Placed carefully, deliberately. And seventh, the clusters. Certain spots where it happens over and over. Hemmed in valleys. Areas with unusual geology. Places Native Americans considered cursed. David interviewed a Navajo ranger once. Off the record. The ranger told him his people don't go to certain areas. Haven't for generations. They know something lives there. Something old. Something that was there before humans. Something that takes The ranger said his grandfather called them the tall ones. Said they walk between places, can step from one location to another without crossing the distance between. Said they collect people the way we collect butterflies. Study them, and when they're done, they discard them. Usually dead, sometimes alive but changed, empty. The ranger made David promise never to use his name. Said the park service knew, had always known. But what could they do? Close the parks, tell people monsters are real, create panic, so they stay quiet, mark the disappearances as accidents, lost hikers, wildlife attacks, anything but the truth. In 2015, a woman named Sarah Morse went missing in Crater Lake National Park. She was 28, marine biologist, experienced outdoorswoman. She'd hiked that trail a dozen times, went out for a day hike, never came back. Search teams found nothing, but Sarah's boyfriend, Tom, refused to give up. He hiked that trail every day for 2 weeks. On day 14, he found her, not on the trail, 5 miles away, in an area so dense with forest, it was nearly impenetrable. Sarah was sitting under a tree, alive, uninjured, staring at nothing. Tom called out. Sarah didn't respond. He approached carefully. "Sarah, honey, it's me." Sarah's head turned. Slowly, her eyes focused on him. But there was something wrong. Her expression, too calm, too empty. "Tom," she said. Her voice was flat, monotone. "I've been waiting. You have to come with me." Tom knelt beside her. "Come where, Sarah? We need to get you to a hospital." Sarah shook her head. "Not hospital. With them. They want to meet you. They're waiting." Tom tried to help her stand. Sarah fought violently, screaming, "No, no, you don't understand. They're not finished. They need more time. I promised them more time." Rangers arrived, had to sedate her. At the hospital, Sarah couldn't explain where she'd been, couldn't explain how she'd gotten 5 miles off trail through impassable terrain, couldn't explain why she had no injuries despite being outside for 2 weeks. No dehydration, no malnutrition, no exposure. Doctors said it was impossible. She should have been dead. But she was fine physically. Mentally though, Sarah never recovered. Kept talking about them. The tall ones. Said they'd taken her somewhere else. Not the park. Somewhere that looked like the park but wrong. The trees were the same but the sky was different. Colors she couldn't describe. And there were others there. Missing people. Dozens of them. From different times. Different eras. All in this place that wasn't quite real. Sarah drew pictures in her hospital room. Showed them to Tom. The drawings were disturbing. Figures. Impossibly tall. 7, 8 feet thin. Too thin. Smooth faces with too many angles. No features she could identify clearly. Just impressions. They moved without walking, she said. Glided. And they communicated without speaking. Put thoughts directly into her head. They were curious about her. Studied her. Asked her questions without words. About where she came from. When she came from. They seemed confused about time. Like they didn't experience it the way we do. Sarah said days felt like minutes there. Minutes felt like weeks. She couldn't tell how long she'd been gone. Could have been hours. Could have been months. And when they were done with her, they put her back. Just placed her under a tree and left. Told her they'd return for her. That she was marked now. That she belonged to them. Tom tried to keep Sarah safe. Moved her to a city. Denver. Far from any national parks. But Sarah deteriorated. Stopped eating. Stopped sleeping. Just sat by the window staring at the mountains in the distance. 2 months after her rescue, Tom woke up and Sarah was gone. Police searched. Found nothing. No signs of forced entry. No evidence she'd left on her own. Security footage from their apartment building showed nothing unusual. Sarah simply vanished from a locked apartment on the 4th floor in the middle of a city. Tom spent the next year investigating. Found others. Survivors of disappearances who came back wrong. They all told similar stories. being taken to an in-between place, studied by things that weren't human, then returned, and they all said the same thing. The tall ones would come back for them. And eventually, they did. Every survivor Tom found eventually disappeared again. Permanently. There's a case from Glacier National Park that the Park Service still won't discuss. August 1998. A group of 12 experienced hikers went on a 4-day trek through the backcountry. They had permits, proper equipment, satellite phone. On day 3, they radioed for help, screaming, saying something was following them. Something wrong. The transmission cut off. Search and rescue launched immediately. Found the campsite. Tents still set up. Food untouched. Backpacks lined up neatly, like they'd been arranged. But no people. 12 adults vanished. The search was massive. 200 personnel. Helicopters with thermal imaging. Bloodhounds. Nothing. No tracks. No signs of struggle. Like 12 people evaporated. 3 days into the search, they found one. A woman named Patricia Cole. She was sitting in the middle of a boulder field, 10 miles from the campsite, naked, uninjured. When rangers approached, Patricia started laughing. Kept laughing for 6 hours straight. At the hospital, doctors couldn't explain it. She was catatonic except for the laughing. For 2 days, just laughter. Then suddenly, she stopped, looked at the doctor and said, "They showed us." Showed us what? Showed us where they keep the collected ones. There are thousands. From all over. All different times. We're specimens. That's all. Specimens in a collection that spans centuries. The doctor asked where the others were. Patricia smiled. They're still there. In the rooms. The white rooms with no doors. Being studied. But I was defective. I broke. So they sent me back. She never spoke again after that. Patricia Cole lives in a care facility now. Still alive. Still silent. Just stares at walls. Sometimes she draws. Always the same thing. Tall figures. And rows of people standing motionless in white rooms. The other 11 from that hiking group. Never found. The Park Service officially lists them as lost to exposure despite finding no evidence of that. David Pollard tried to investigate. Was denied access to files. Told the case was closed. But he found something else. Historical records. Native American accounts from the 1800s. Stories about the same areas. People vanishing. Being taken by the skywalkers. Beings that could move through the air. Through solid rock. Through space itself. The tribes had rules. Don't hike alone in certain valleys. Don't camp near particular boulder fields. Don't whistle at night. Don't follow lights in the forest. The Park Service knew these stories. Early rangers documented them. But somewhere along the way, the reports stopped. Someone decided it was better not to know. Better to pretend. David has a map in his office. Pins marking every disappearance. Thousands of them. When you look at it, you see the clusters, the hot spots. Yosemite, Crater Lake, Great Smoky Mountains, Glacier, and others. Mount Rainier, Rocky Mountain National Park, Sequoia, Grand Canyon. Each one has dozens of pins. Each pin represents a person who vanished without explanation. A person whose family still doesn't know what happened. A person who might still be out there, in those white rooms, being studied by things we don't understand. Things that have been here longer than us. Things that consider us curiosities. Specimens. Property. Last year, David got a call. A ranger. Current, not retired. Wouldn't give his name. Said he needed to talk. They met at a diner in Montana. The ranger looked exhausted. Scared. He told David he'd seen one. 2 weeks earlier. He'd been on patrol in a remote section of Glacier. Heard screaming. A child. He ran toward the sound. Found a little girl, maybe 7 years old, crying, lost. He radioed for help. Approached the girl. Asked where her parents were. The girl pointed up. The ranger looked. There was something in the trees. Tall. Impossibly tall. watching. The ranger said it wasn't animal, wasn't human, it was something else. And it was angry. The girl ran to him, grabbed his leg. It was taking me, she said. It wanted to take me to the white place, but I screamed and it dropped me. The ranger carried the girl out, got her to safety, reunited her with her parents who'd been searching frantically. But that night, the ranger went back to where he'd found her, wanted to understand what he'd seen. The forest was different there. Wrong. Trees bent at impossible angles, grass growing in spiral patterns, and in the center, a circle of stones, smooth, black, arranged in a pattern. The ranger said he felt watched, felt something massive and ancient focusing on him. He ran, hasn't gone back, but now he can't sleep. Feels like something followed him home, watches him. He told David, they're real, whatever they are, they're real. And there are more of them than we think. The parks are full of them, and we have no idea what they want or how to stop them. David has stopped giving public talks, stopped publishing new books. To many threats, some from the Park Service, some from sources he can't identify. But he still maintains his database, still tracks cases, and the numbers keep growing. Every year, over 1,600 people vanish in national parks. Most are found, but hundreds aren't, just gone. And the patterns continue. Intelligent victims, immediate weather, missing shoes, impossible distances, no scent trails, and the clusters. Always the clusters. David has a theory he's never published. Based on everything he's learned, the national parks weren't preserved for us. They were preserved for them. The tall ones, the skywalkers, whatever they are. They were here first. When the government created the park system, someone knew, someone understood. These places were set aside as territory, as hunting grounds, as laboratories. And we're allowed to visit as long as we understand the risk. As long as we accept that some of us won't come back. It's a deal, an arrangement. We get access to beautiful wilderness. They get access to us. And the Park Service keeps quiet, marks the disappearances as accidents, lost hikers. Because what's the alternative? Admit that something inhuman is taking people. Admit that we don't control these spaces. Admit that we're not alone in the forests. That would destroy the park system. Tourism would collapse. So they stay silent. And people keep vanishing. There's one more thing. Something David discovered but won't confirm publicly. The disappearances are increasing, not just in frequency, in range. They started in remote backcountry areas, but now they're happening closer to trails, closer to campgrounds, closer to parking lots. Whatever is taking people is getting bolder. And the survivors, the rare few who come back, they all say the same thing. The tall ones are preparing, collecting, building something in those white rooms. And when they're ready, when they have enough specimens, enough data, enough of us, they're going to do something. The survivors don't know what, but they're terrified. David keeps a bag packed, says if he gets word of a major incident, a mass disappearance, he's going underground, because that will be the sign that whatever these things have been planning for centuries is finally happening. And when it does, the parks won't be the only hunting grounds. Nowhere will be safe. Last month, David got an email. No sender. Just a message. We know what you know. We've always known. Don't look for the missing. They're where they need to be. The collection is almost complete. Stay out of the parks after dark. Stay away from the clusters. And whatever you do, if you see something tall moving through the trees, something that doesn't move right, don't run. Don't look at it. Don't acknowledge it. Because once it knows you've seen it, you're marked. You're next. You'll join the others in the white rooms with no doors. And you'll understand too late that the parks were never ours. They were always theirs. We're just visiting their territory. And sometimes, visitors don't come home.